Okay, members and officers, welcome to the reconvened planning meeting. I'll start off with the notice and summons of meeting. Dear members of the planning committee, you are hereby summoned to attend the reconvened meeting of the planning committee from Wednesday, the 7th of February 2024, which will be held as a hybrid meeting to be conducted remotely via WebEx and also physically in the council chamber, Derry Road, Strabane, on Thursday, the 8th of February 2024 at 2 p.m. And Maura, could you take us through the members' attendance and apologies, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Alderman Derek Hussey.
Online.
Thank you. Alderman Keith Kerrigan. Alderman Neary McMorris.
Online, Maura.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Jason Barr. Okay, running late. Councillor John Boyle.
Here.
Chamber. Councillor Sean Fleming.
And Shaw online.
Thank you. Councillor Paul Gallagher.
Good job.
Thank you. Councillor Christopher Jackson. Yeah, thank you, Christopher. Councillor Fergal Leonard.
Good job.
Thank you. Councillor Rory McHugh. Councillor McHugh. No. Councillor Sean Minnie.
Here.
Okay. Councillor Patrick Murphy. No. Councillor Barr.
Yeah, online.
Thank you. And Councillor Grace O'Neillis. I go back, just double check. Councillor Alderman Keith Kerrigan. You joined? No. That's it.
He should be with us, Maura. It's he's probably just running it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Neary.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Maura. Item number 3, broadcasting statements. I would like to remind everyone present at this meeting in the chamber or in attendance remotely that this meeting will be broadcast live to the internet and will be capable of repeated viewing. This broadcast may be terminated or suspended in accordance with our protocol. Due to your attendance at this meeting, you are consenting to being filmed and to the use and storage of those images for broadcasting or training purposes and for the purpose of keeping historical records and making those records available to the public. Members and approved speakers are reminded to only have their mics and cameras on while speaking at the meeting and to use the chat facility to highlight a request to speak. A copy of the council privacy notice may be found on the council website. Item number 4, declarations of members' interest. I can take these now or during the occurrence of the meeting. Number 5, chairperson's business. We have none today, members. And moving on to the next item, which will be the planning applications to be completed today. And I'm going to call the next application, which is item number 11. And I'm going to bring in item number 12 as well because they are co-linked. And that's LA 11 2022 1102F, LA 11 2023 1304 LBC. And that's for a proposed change of use from office building to provide a HMO at number 15 Clarendon Street, Derry City. And that's Malgi to take those applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, members. LA 11 2022 1102F is a full application for a proposed change of use from office building to provide HMO at 15 Clarendon Street, Derry, and the recommendation is to approve. The application site is located within the commercial core of Derry as defined in the Derry Area Plan. It's also within the Clarendon Street Conservation Area and within the central area as defined in the Derry Area Plan. The existing site is a mid-Victorian 3-bedroom mid-terrace property. It's a listed building, a B1 listed building. Its original use was a dwelling, then later it was an office, currently vacant. And the proposal is to change it to HMO without any alterations to the external elevations. So that is the proposed elevations. And the main alterations relate to the layout of the internal property. There's going to be a provision of 9 bedrooms within the HMO, as well as shared living areas and shared kitchen areas and shared bathrooms, etc. The policy context is set out in the case officer report, and the relevant policies are contained within the SPPS, Dairy Area Plan, PPS 3, PPS 6, and the Clarence Street Conservation Area Design Guide is also a material consideration. For applications for HMOs, we don't have any policy within the local development plan or within regional development plan. So we will rely on the suite of policies as set out in the report. Consulted a number of bodies in relation to the application, including NI Water, DFA Roads, Environmental Health, Historic Buildings, Water Management Unit, and Shared Environmental Services. NI Water had made an assessment and indicated there was network capacity issues relating to sewage. As such, we consulted Water Management Unit and Shared Environmental Services. We're satisfied that a condition could be added to the proposal that no development shall not become operational until a method of sewage is agreed with NI Water. Environmental Health have no objection, subject to the standard informatives relation to construction noise and relation to HMOs. DFA Roads have indicated that car park is not normally a requirement or for servicing. They recognise that there was a car parking survey submitted with the proposal. We've had 25 letters of objections from 6 addresses. Again, these are outlined within the case officer report, and we've had 1 letter of support from Ulster University and Colin Operating Services. The main issues raised within the objections include neighbourification process, the requirement for listed building consent, character, car parking, refuge storage, policy issues in relation to SPPS, the area plan, the Clarence Street Conservation and PPS 6, and some issues in relation to HMOs and how they're operated in terms of antisocial behaviour and other comments in relation to HMO legislation. Officers have considered a number of issues pertinent to HMOs within the case officer report. These include impact on character. Clarence Street is located within an area defined as office development with their area plan. However, this does not preclude other types of uses in the street. We've also considered that it's within the conservation area and have considered the relevant policies within PPS 6 and the area plan. And given that there's minimal changes to the in terms of operational development, there's no concerns in relation to the impact on the conservation area. And the change of use will maintain the upkeep of the building. There are 3 other HMOs approved within Clarence Street at 9, 15 and 20. There's also approvals for flats, and there's a number of variety of different uses within Clarence Street, including office and commercial uses. So officers of opinion it's pretty much a mixed use area, and the provision of the properties at HMO would not have a significant detrimental impact on the provision, on the character of the locality. In terms of parking provision, the application site is within Zone A, which is identified in Policy TR5 of the Dairy Area Plan. So that is the commercial core. Within this, there's no requirement for applicants to provide operational car parking, other than servicing and other essential operations. The applicant has submitted a car parking survey, which does show that there's some capacity in the area, but given the central location and the policy requirements, officers are satisfied that the proposal is in compliance with the area plan and PPS 3. Officers also consider the impact of residential media in terms of the occupiers of the HMO. There's adequate private amenity space within the property for storage of bins, etc. There's shared facilities within the property, and officers are satisfied that the proposal complies with the relevant policy requirements. In terms of impact on nearby properties, the main concerns are the main issues to be taken into account are potential for noise disturbance and impact on privacy for nearby properties. There are no additional windows proposed other than what exists at present. In terms of noise and disturbance, any complaints will be dealt with through EHD and the licensing regime. EHD have provided information regarding noise transmitted from the proposed occupiers of the HMO to neighbouring properties, and officers are satisfied that there will be no adverse impact on the amenity of any nearby properties from this change of use. As I mentioned and outlined already, the NI Water has raised issues in relation to sewage disposal. This mainly relates to the potential impact through unsatisfactory intermittent discharges to the foil. As such, we've consulted NI Water Management and Shared Environmental Services, and both are satisfied that this can be dealt with through negative condition, and there will be no impact on the aquatic environment if this condition is complied with. So officers are recommending in the pack that this condition is complied with. Again, we've taken into account natural heritage and particularly policies EN7 and EN8 of the area plan, as well as PPS2, and we're not concerned that there'll be any adverse impacts. The proposal meets NIHC standards. So in conclusion, officers have considered all material considerations, including the policy context, third-party representations, planning history, and are recommending approval for the application subject to the conditions before you and also within the case officer report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Malachy. Members, there's no speakers from the applicant or any agents from the applicant listed today. So if anybody got any questions for Malachy, they can. Councillor Boyle, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just the one, Chair. Malachy, I'm just curious about one thing contained in the report. You say there were 26 letters of objection. No doubt there were, but how can we have 26 letters of objection from 6 addresses? I'm hazarding that these letters came from people who live or work nearby. Would that, you know, I'm not sure.
It's when we record this, sorry for your Chair, when we record the number of objections we receive, we record the total number of letters we get from the number of people. So it may be the case that the same person put on multiple representations, which is probably the case.
Members, if any members online, I have got an issue with my computer here, my laptop. It seems to go on a bit wonky, but if anybody wants to come in, they can indicate now, or I can move on, if that's okay. Okay, members, we'll move on now to, well, there's an application on to be. Councillor Boyle, yeah, thank you.
Now, Chair, I'll make a proposal, if that's all right with you. Now, Chair, I note that there's always people that sometimes do get a little bit exercised about houses of multiple occupation and the number of them and the location of them. However, it's also worth noting that we have to provide some degree of accommodation for the ambitions for the expansion of our university. We have to be realistic around that. Obviously, we recently received a correspondence from the university outlining their plans for provision of 500, I think it was, 500 student beds within or in and around their own campus, which will be managed by them. Look forward to the day when that happens, but obviously I think we have to appreciate that that's not going to happen overnight. And so we do need student accommodation. And I suppose for our comfort, the university have provided a supporting letter here. Now, again, some people are looking at that and saying, is that really what's going to happen? But we have to take these things in face value. And the university are suggesting, you know, that they will become the leasee and therefore have the responsibility for overseeing the management of this particular HO. And I've noted that they've said that with other HMOs as well. And in relation to parking, obviously, again, I note the officer opinion on that. It is city centre. We know the challenges of parking in and around the city centre, not least in and around the Clarendon Street Conservation Area, as we all know it. But again, my own evidence and the evidence of all our eyes will tell you that outside of normal business hours, there's ample parking in and around that part of the city centre should people wish to park. And in light of that, and on the basis of the report and the recommendation, Chair, I'm going to propose that we accept the officer recommendation to approve this particular application today.
Thank you, Councillor Boyle, for that proposal. Do you have a seconder to that proposal?
Chair.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you. Councillor Gallagher just got in there, but sorry. We'll come back to you in a moment now. Hold on a second. Okay, thank you, Councillor Gallagher, for seconding that. Not too sure who it was online, but if you want to come in now, go ahead. Was it Councillor Jackson?
Thanks, Chair, and apologies for that. I just couldn't find the chat box, and I was more than content they second it, but I know it's already been done. But I think the points have already been made. We drastically need student accommodation. We've got the growth of the university and expansion of the university is key. The local economy. If we're going to grow the economy in the northwest, we need a thriving university. The city centre location of this application makes it ideal for student accommodation. Assessing it against all policies, I have no problem whatsoever in supporting the recommendation. So I know it's been proposed and seconded, but just give my endorsement as well. Thank you, Chair.
No problem, Councillor Jackson. Councillor Jackson, sorry, thank you. Just because again, my computer's gone a bit haywire here. Hey, so maybe that's gone wonky as well. Well, thank you, Councillor Jackson. Nora, could you take that vote now? It's been proposed and seconded. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So this is item 11, members' proposal to accept the officer's recommendation to approve. Alderman Derek Hussey.
For.
Thank you. Alderman Keith Kerrigan is not here. Alderman Neary McMorris.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Jason Barr.
Abstain as I wasn't here for the start of the application.
Thank you. Councillor John Boyle.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Sean Fleming.
Tam.
Thank you. Councillor Paul Gallagher.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Christopher Jackson. Okay. Councillor Fergal Leonard.
Tap.
Okay. Councillor Rory McHugh.
Tap.
Okay. Councillor Sean Mooney.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Patrick Murphy is not here. Oh, you've arrived. Sorry. Apologies. Didn't see you on the chat box. Thanks. Councillor Barr.
Abstain.
Thank you. Councillor Barr. Councillor Grace O'Neill is not here. Thank you. So that's unanimous with 2 abstentions.
Thank you, Maura. That motion's carried. Thank you, members. Okay, members. Malky, you want to come in now on the next application for the LBC in relation to that? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. The list of building consent applications, LA11 2022 1304. It's the same description, it's just change of use only. There's no operational changes or additions to the list of building. And it's at 15 Clarendon Street. So we've covered the location and the floor plan on the previous slides. It's a B1 list of building from mid-Victorian period, built around 1861. There's no alterations to the property. Given the policy context and our requirement to consider under the area plan and PPS 6, we have statutory responsibility to consult Historic Environment Division. They have advised that they've considered the impacts of the proposal on the list of building on the basis of the information provided. They are content with the proposal as presented, subject to standard conditions. And some of the representations from the full application have been carried over onto the list of building consent and considered in the report. And again, officers have considered the policies relevant, which are BH7 and BH8, and have taken into account HED's response and recommend that the list of building consent is granted for this change of use at 15 Clarendon Street, subject to the conditions before you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Malachy. Councillor Boyle, yes, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Actually, interesting to note, 1861, very, very long time ago. Councillor Barr just said to me there, what age was I when this house was first built? A cheeky sod. However, we can't have the chicken without the egg, so I propose that we accept the recommendation to approve.
Thank you for that proposal, Councillor Boyle. Seconder.
Yeah, before there's a civil war.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher. Okay, Maura, can we go to the vote on that now? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. That's item 12, members' proposal to accept officer's recommendation to approve. Alderman Derry Cuzzy.
Or.
Okay. Alderman Keith Kerrigan. Not here. Alderman Neary McMorris.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Jason Barr.
Or.
Thank you. Councillor John Boyle.
Or.
Thank you. Councillor Sean Fleming.
Ta.
Thank you. Councillor Paul Gallagher.
Or.
Okay. Councillor Christopher Jackson.
Ta, Maura.
Okay. Councillor Fergal Leonard.
Top.
Okay. Councillor Rory McHugh.
Ta.
Okay. Councillor Sean Minnie.
Or.
Thank you. Councillor Patrick Murphy.
Ha.
Okay. And Councillor Barr.
Abstain.
Thank you. And Councillor Grace O'Neill is not here. So that's unanimous.
Thank you, Maura, and that's passed again, members. On to our next application, which is item 14, LA 11, 2023/2092/F, alterations to Memorial Garden, can replacement wall, ground lighting, and upgrading of surrounding footpath together with associated works at Market Square, Car Park, Claudy, Market Square, Car Park, Church Street, Claudy, and Malachy's taking that. Thank you, Malachy.
Yep, thank you, Chair. Item 14, LA 11, 2023-2092. It's the alterations to Memorial Garden, including replacement wall and lighting and upgrading of footpath together with associated works at Market Square, Car Park, Claudy. And the recommendation is to approve. The application site is outlined in red is a portion of the existing car park at Church Street in Claudy. Currently, the application contained car parking spaces as well as a memorial known as the Kneeling Girl. The proposal is set out before you in the site layout. It's the environmental improvements around the existing bronze statue. So here's the existing and proposed elevations. It's also contained within your report, and here's the detailing of some of the materials associated with the application. The policy context for the proposal is set out in the Derry Area Plan, the SPPS and PPS3. And just to give you a summary of the works proposed, it relates to a series of remedial works to the Memorial Garden site that include new soft landscaped area, additional tree planting to augment existing 1 metre high Glentown boundary stone wall with silver granite unset blocks to allow for engravings, flat granite copings, interlaced bow top fence to the inside of the wall area, new paving to match existing along the side seating area, new band of Tegla paving between granite curbs and soft landscape to bed, recentering of existing statue, strip lighting positioned along the inside face of the wall at ground level. We consulted one statutory consultee, DFA Roads, who had no objections. The main policy considerations contained within the Derry Area Plan, which is policy SE1, which is development of villages and small settlements, which advises proposals within such developments should normally be acceptable provided they are in keeping with the size and character of the settlement. do not lead either individually or cumulatively to a loss of immunity, and comply with all other plan policies. The application is based on a need to upgrade the existing memorial site that is in keeping with the character of Claudy and will not lead to a loss of immunity. There's no conflict with other plan policies. The officer's recommendation is to approve subject to standard conditions and having taken account of all material planning considerations. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Malachy. Members, it's a council application, so there's no other speakers except the officer. Does anybody like to come in to ask Malachy any questions on the application? So we can see if anybody wants to come online. No. No questions from Malachy. So members, it's over to you, Councillor Boyle.
As noted by yourself, Chair, it's really only in front of us because it is a council application and a council car park. So I'm content to propose we accept the officer recommendation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Boyle. Any seconders? Councillor Jason Barr, thank you. Oh, sorry, Alderman Hussey. Go ahead there.
I was coming in the second there, and actually to congratulate and thank officers for the sympathetic way that this particular site has been dealt with. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey. Your comments have been noted, and I'm going to ask Maura now to take a vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Members, this is item 14, and it's a proposal to accept the officer's recommendation to approve. Alderman Derek Hussey. You're nearly Keith Hussey there.
Freudian slip there. For.
Thank you. Alderman Keith Garrigan's not here. Alderman Neri McMorris.
For.
Okay. Councillor Jason Barr.
For.
Okay. Councillor John Boyd.
For.
Okay. Councillor Sean Fleming.
Tam.
Okay. Councillor Paul Gallagher.
For.
Okay. Councillor Christopher Jackson. Okay. Councillor Fergal Leonard. Okay. Councillor Rory McHugh.
For.
Okay. Councillor Sean Mooney. Okay. Councillor Patrick Murphy. Thank you. Councillor Barr.
Abstain?
Thank you. And Councillor Grace O'Neill is not here. It's unanimous, Chair, and one abstention.
Thank you, Maura. Application has been approved, members. Coming on to our next item is item 15, LA11 2023-1491F, installation of a 20-metre high slimline monopole supporting 6 antenna, 2 numbered equipment cabinets, 1 number electric meter cabinet at Springtown Road, Foyle Springs Road, Derry. And I think Suzanne's taken that. Thank you, Suzanne.
Okay, thanks, Chair. Good afternoon, members. Yes, so application LA11 2023-1492F is for the installation of telecommunications monopole and the antennae and the cabinets. It's located at the junction 60 metres east of the junction of Springtown Road and Foyle Springs Road. And this is just the map of the location and just the satellite overhead. This is a snapshot of the site. Just to the right of the bus shelter is where that's proposed to be installed, adjacent to the road. During the processing of the application, there's just a block plan of the site in detail. During the processing of the application, there were 29 objections in total, and they related to human health and amenity concerns, visual amenity, inappropriate location, natural heritage, and other general concerns, house prices, neighbour notifications. Those are all reasoned out in your report and explained. The proposal itself is for a 20-metre high monopole, which includes 6 antennae and 2 equipment cabinets and 1 electric meter cabinet. And it will ensure 3G, 4G and 5G according to the applicant CK Hutchison. Policy frameworks listed in your screen in the main policies PPS 10 on telecommunications. The Derry Area Plan does also touch on telecommunications policy and the SPPS. Firstly, when we're assessing telecommunications proposals, we would seek that the operators would explore mass sharing, and they've actually put in a statement to explain why it's not appropriate in this case, and that the location, given the low ground and can't deliver the level of coverage required for the target areas. And they're saying also that the existing sites in this area of Derry are struggling to cope with demand and increase in capacity. Really just then in terms of the actual public health issues that we would consider, those are all included with a consultation with to environmental health, and the operators are required to put in what's known as an ICNIRP certificate. That has been submitted. Environmental health are satisfied. They've no other further concerns with the site. So we're looking at amenity, no major impact on anybody's residential amenity. And environmental health also advised they had no objections in terms of amenity. DFI roads are satisfied where it's positioned with the footpath and the access to the road. No natural heritage and environmental other considerations. So just obviously the representations, and obviously I suppose because 5G masts, these do attract a lot of public comment usually, and those are just a breakdown of some of the issues that have been raised and included in your report. So on balance, we have recommended approval. The policy proposal complies with the policy, and there's no other major issues that we would consider significant at this stage, and happy to approve. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. There's no speakers on this matter, so does anybody have any questions for Suzanne in relation to this application? Councillor Paul Gallagher, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I just have one question, and it's probably was alluded to, you know, there's some of these installations do create a bit of public fear, such of what they give out. And you know, and the report, it says council doesn't monitor them. And then it also says, you know, that if you know there's no evidence of cancer or whatever, are exposed to the recommended levels, which is in the guidelines. And my query just is, you know, if there's no monitoring, is there any way of knowing whether they do exceed recommended levels? And how would we know? I'm just thinking this could be installed and it could be way in excess of that potentially, but how would we know after the fact? Do we know?
Yeah, go ahead there.
Well, I am aware that obviously with my contacts with environmental health, they don't monitor them, but I think the ICNIRP certificate is the considering factor here. In terms of, I mean, I don't know if that has to be updated or renewed after a certain time, but that is the test in terms of public health. And that was, those most recent guidelines were 2020 of the ICNIRP certificate. I mean, I can remember years ago, like that was something that would never have had to be put in, you know, when we would have been doing them years ago. In terms of the monitoring, I can check it out with environmental health, Councillor Gallagher, and maybe come back to you on it. It's not something that I have any information on, can advise you on today.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chair. It's usually, you know, some of these concerns come out after the fact, you know, once something's approved, and then people start asking questions, and then if they are going to come to elected reps and say, how do you know? So it would be good if we knew, just as feedback on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher. That's noted anyway, and hopefully we can get some information back in due course.
Thank you, Chair, and a very useful question from Councillor Gallagher, might I add, and he's right too. There's usually a significant level of anxiety around the siting of this sort of technology. I have to confess that I'm certainly no scientist in this particular field, and as such, must, by virtue of that, accept the opinion of the experts in the field. However, I know this area extremely well. In fact, the bus stop there and one of our images is one that I get off at practically every day because I live around the corner from it. I don't think I need to declare an interest for that. I mean, it's not that close to me, but I do get a question in the sense, why does this specific location on the specific road, when if you look at the overhead figure 2 and the site context, as I said, I know the area very well, and if you're looking at that overhead, you'll notice about probably less than 100 yards down the road, there's a big empty space where nobody lives, nobody works, and the gradient there is not very much different. And it's one of the things I think that may well have given people some degree of better comfort if the companies who are locating these types of monopoles would consider the logic of placing them where there might be less people and close proximity to it. The white roof buildings there are, albeit they are office blocks, that's true. I think they need to work better at being able to allay people's anxieties and concerns. I have no way, of course, of recommending that we overturn it. The officer recommendation here is to approve it, and the report tells me that it's all okay. But I mean, it still brings anxiety and the neighbourhoods, not least an awful lot of people that I know. Nobody's mentioned it to me personally, but it's just an observation more than anything, Chair. You know, I mean, there's a very obvious place where this could have went, where it may well have not received the same level of objection on this particular occasion. So I do wonder that at some of these companies when they're locating these as to just how much effort they make to locate them in places where there's less footfall or there's less people living. But I also appreciate, you know, everybody wants 5G, everybody wants 4G, and when the technology lets people down, then they start tearing their hair out as well. You know, so it's really about balancing the needs of a modern society with the needs of local residents in relation to applications, not simply just this one, but other applications as well, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Boyle. I don't know if there's a question there, but it maybe wasn't a question. There was an issue raised about location, was there? Perhaps I'm no scientist, as you say, but maybe for reception or something. But
well, I suppose I've got one question for the officers, and that is when they are citing these, do our officers actually ever ask? Or I don't know, maybe you do. Do they ever ask what alternative locations goes by? You know, I understand some of the technology, and there's a triangulation issue in terms of this mast must speak to one a mile away, and then it triangulates up to another one. And I understand all that. Then you've got the satellite stuff going on. But I mean, do officers ever say, well, look, we believe there's a better location. Have you considered that one?
Suzanne, you want to try and Sure.
We could do if we felt it was required, but in terms of public health, which is the basis of your concerns and alleviating concerns, in this case, there's, you know, the Environmental Health Department have no concerns with any public health, so there'd be no basis for us to go and ask them to put in a new application for an alternative site if it was better. But I mean, you know, we have to look. I totally get your concerns, and yes, when this probably goes up, people will be contacting us as they do. Other contentious ones we've had, operators have just decided to go and move to another site. We've seen that before, you know, previously, but in this case here, there was nothing. I mean, there's no part of the planning policy that says you can't locate beside a bus shelter or a housing estate, or, you know, and that's really where we are. But yeah, I mean, if I don't know what informal communication they do with the community too, maybe those things would help, but we can pass those back, those views back, no problem.
Thank you, Sue. Go ahead, John.
Just to say, Chair, I mean, sometimes, I don't know if anybody else ever gets these, but sometimes these communications companies do communicate with the local reps. I'm not actually a local rep for that area, but I do know that they would have potentially sent out letters to local reps. et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know what kind of feedback they got. As I said, the first time I had any reference to this one, certainly wasn't a letter came to our house, was when I saw it in the planning scheme of things for our consideration last week. So, you know, it's just one of those ones. I'm uncomfortable with it. It's up to other members. Chair, I'm just going to advise. I'm not going to propose it. I'm not voting for it. I'm not voting against it. I'm going to abstain in the vote on this occasion because it's in fairly close proximity to where I live and where my neighbours live. I'm a bit torn with it, so it's probably best to stay out of this one.
Okay, Councillor Boyd, thank you and your comments are noted. Councillor Leonard, go ahead.
Chair, just to let you know that Councillor McNeilis was looking in on this. I don't know if you've seen the chat box. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Leonard. I've been watching the chat box and I'm going to ask. Councillor McNeilis, do you want to come in now? Thank you.
Yeah, just waiting there for all the questions to be finished. So just basically, so policy TEL1 permits proposals for telecommunication works which will not result in unacceptable damage to visual amenity. And section 2 of policy TEL1 talks about mitigating the visual and environmental impact. Now, I personally object to this as being the right location, as the height difference between the trees and the mast is significant. The difference in the height of the streetlight and mast will also be significant, which will make it appear incongruous within the street scene. Paragraph 6.238 of the SPPS advises that the aims of the SPPS is to facilitate the development of telecommunications and utilities infrastructure in an efficient and effective manner whilst keeping environmental impact to a minimum. Now, I agree with what Councillor John Boyle has said in that there are other sites available, and I personally feel that this site list needs to first be exhausted. SPPS paragraph 2.3 states that the planning system operates in the public interest of local communities. I object that this mast will not unacceptably affect the amenity of the surrounding properties, and for this reason I propose that we reject the officer's recommendation for approval and instead recommend refusal.
Okay, Councillor Ennis, thank you. That's a proposal.
Second that, Chair.
Okay, Councillor Jackson, thank you. So members, we have a, sorry, Councillor Gillard.
Just a point. Would we require evidence of that previous statement that was made there for the refusal reasons? I.e., the community doesn't want it? No, is there anything being produced that we could fall back on that? Just as a point.
I take your point now. Obviously, there's a proposal made, it's been seconded, but as you say, obviously, it would be nice if there was evidence produced to say why you're not going to go for the officer's recommendation, you know? I'll just check that. I'll check that.
If you don't mind,
just hold on a second there, Councillor Ennis. I'm just going to consult with the head of planning here. Thank you. I'll bring you in on a short minute. Okay. Councillor Ennis, I'm just going to bring you in again. Just looking at the papers there, and I've had a chance to consult there. I take it the basis and formulation of your proposal is based on the objections that are contained in the pack. Can you enlighten me on that point, please? I was asking there for Councillor Unitas, but I see Councillor Jackson wishes to come on. Are you coming on this basis as being the seconder, Councillor Jackson?
Well, either or, but I do feel that the councillor made a proposal in her interpretation of plan, that it was the residential area. Now, we've already heard from residents living nearby had an opportunity to express their views to the processing of this. Some have done so and took opportunity to make an objection. We've actually got an elected member that's a member of this committee who lives nearby, who has who's expressed concerns. But regardless of all of that, we make decisions based on our interpretation and policy. Councillor Gallagher might have a different interpretation. That's within his own gift. But it's over to yourself, Chair, to rule whether it's a valid proposal or not. And the last I checked, Councillor Gallagher was chair of the committee.
Well, thank you for that, Councillor Jackson. The reason why I put it again was because obviously the issue was raised by Councillor Gallagher, but obviously I am the chair of the committee and it is a valid proposal and I will be taking the proposal from Councillor Unitas anyway, so I will ask Maura to go to vote anyway. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Members, this is item 15 and it's a proposal not to accept the officer's recommendation to approve. Alderman Derek Hussey.
Abstain.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Keith Kerrigan isn't here. Alderman Neri McMorris.
Abstain.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Jason Barr.
Or
Thank you. Councillor John Boyle.
Just to explain before I do vote, again, I should stress I don't live close enough to the application site to have been neighbour notified, so it was news to me. But I am gonna abstain in this application, Chair.
Councillor Sean Fleming.
Ta.
Okay. Councillor Paul Gallagher.
Abstain.
Okay. Councillor Christopher Jackson. Yeah, thank you. Councillor Fergal Leonard.
Ta.
Thank you. Councillor Rory McHugh.
Ta. For.
Okay. Councillor Sean Mooney.
against.
Okay. Councillor Patrick Murphy.
Ha.
Okay. Councillor Barr.
Abstain.
Thank you. And Councillor Grace O'Neillis.
Ta.
Okay. 7-4, 1 against.
Abstentions.
2, 3, 4, 5 abstentions.
Okay, members, that proposal by Councillor Unitas was successful. 7-4, 1 against and 5 abstentions. So that motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, members, that is the applications list has been completed there now. I'm going to move into items 7, 8, and 9. But members, I'm going to take number 9. That's open for decision. It's just realised it was open for decision, and that is the review of the Planning Development Management Regulations NI 2015 consultation document. And Andre's going to take that first. Thank you, Andre.
Thank you, Chair. So the purpose of this report is to advise members of correspondence which has been received from DFI regarding a public consultation on the review of the Planning Development Management Regulations 2015. So the consultation proposes changes in 3 areas. One of these areas is a review of the classes of development and thresholds to ensure that they reflect current and future development trends. Proposals to make predetermination hearings discretionary for councils, and proposals to introduce online digital methods into the pre-application community consultation process. So the consultation sets out the aims and potential issues for each of the actions and seeks views and feedback on any potential changes that may or may not be required. So a questionnaire accompanied the correspondence. Section 2 of the questionnaire outlined a series of questions exploring the classes of development and their thresholds as set out in the major development threshold schedule. Section 3 was with regards to online digital techniques to be introduced into the PACC process. And Section 4 explores objectives for the PDHs. So members' officers have drafted responses to the questions asked in the questionnaire, and the recommendation is that members note the comments or the contents of the paper and advise officers if they are content for the draft response to be issued to the department, or if there's any other comments or matters they wish to be inserted into the response. Officers will take that away and do that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Andre, for presenting that document there. Members, you will note it's for approval. Happy to take any members' comments now if they wish to express any views, or if not, then are they content that they've read the document and they're happy for that submission to be sent off? Could you let me know now, and I will bring you in. Okay, I'm going to bring in Maura here now. She wants to put a bit of context to the matter. Thank you.
Members, just to highlight again that this particular document, this particular consultation comes in the back of the overall review of legislation. And just a reminder, we did comment on that consultation to DFI, the overall suggestions, and we did suggest the principle of reviewing the categories was a good one. This particular consultation is really focused on the element of the recategorization is focused on majors to sort of regional, rather than maybe some of the commentary we've had before about creating maybe an intermediate section. So you can see, I suppose from our perspective, some of the experiences we've had, unlike maybe other councils, we do get lots of different application types. And also it's just to highlight, whereby in and around the housing, the multiple housing and those types of applications and queries, we have highlighted that we think that there needs to be a particular expansion on the scale of those types of developments. So we just think it was important to highlight that. Thanks.
Thank you, Maura. Does anybody wish to comment on that? No, so I'll take everybody's silence as they're consenting to this paper being approved. So thank you for that, Andre. It's been approved. Members, going to move on now to items 7 and 8. As you can see from your pack, they're open for information. And that is a list of decisions issued January 24, followed by the appeals update. So any member wish to come in on that? No. Okay, members, could I have a proposer and seconder? They're going to confidential. Councillor Jason Barr, Councillor Farrell Leonard. Thank you.